Well, hello and welcome back to the Leverage Podcast. I am Paul Richard and we have Tim Peake here with us today. Tim is with HHO Organic Products, and it's a pleasure to have you on the program today. Tim, how are you?
Thanks, Paul. I'm doing great. How about you?
Awesome. I'm doing
Very good.
okay. I'm doing okay. We
Excellent.
are knocking down 7 or 8 podcasts today, so it's going to be a super busy day, but it's awesome. And I was just reminded that it's my anniversary today, so I fortunately just set a date night with my wife, so we'll be out tonight enjoying
Congratulations.
that. So thank you, Yeah, when I moved to Branson 10 years ago, I never imagined I was a single man. Never imagined I'd be married again, and here we are celebrating 7 years already. So when God
Wow.
has somebody in mind for you, then it works out that way. So
I'm with you there. I've been married
all
40.
right. 49 years. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Surprised she puts
All
up
right.
with me.
Isn't that the truth for most of us guys?
Yeah,
Most of us married outside of our coverage area, So,
absolutely. Yeah.
well, Tim, we've had the pleasure of being together in a couple of networking meetings, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And I'm looking forward to this podcast and getting to know even more about what you do and who you are, and know, love, and trust you more. So, give us a little background. Obviously, 49 years of marriage tells us a lot about you, sir. Very consistent. Give us a little background on what what's going on with you from your past to your education and how you got into this HHO organic product line.
Well, let's see. Where do I begin, right?
No kidding, right?
Well, I've been involved in the health field for a long time. We used to own a health food store up in a town called Liberty, Missouri. And that's kind of where my interest, if you will, in health food products and people's health. And I gained a lot of information in that environment. And then after that, I went on and we've been taking and selling the colloidal silver product that we sell for a lot of years now, probably 35 years or so. So I'd say about 10 years, a little over 10 years ago, I ran into an old friend. He and I were in the health business years ago together. And he asked me, he said, I found out about hemp and hemp oil. And he said, I know you know business. And he said, I know the hemp oil. So he said, I want you to help me get my business started. And that's kind of where that initial contact with the hemp oil came along. It was interesting. He's married to a Chinese lady, and when he discovered hemp oil, he was all excited and telling her all about it, and she was kind of looking at him like, and she finally said, this is something we've known for centuries. And in China, this is nothing new, but he kind of started me in the investigative part of it. I was a little bit of a skeptic when I started, so I did a lot of investigation, looking through the internet and talking with different people that had been involved with, cannabis products. And I wasn't actually interested in doing medical marijuana type things, but just because of reputation and that kind of stuff. But so as I found that there's a difference between medical marijuana and hemp oil, I got a lot more comfortable with it. And then one day I sat there and I thought, can you sell me a bottle of this? And so he said, well, yeah, I'll send you a bottle. And so over time, long story short, he's basically not doing it anymore. His wife is doing it, and I've taken over that whole side of the business. So that's kind of where we started in that part of it. Now we've been in natural health products for a long time. We did the gambit, where you do essential oils and all kinds of different things over the years. But so that's kind of where I started and where we ended up. And actually, the reason that our business started growing was because after I got a sample of it and I used it, I had osteoarthritis, and it did amazing things for my osteo. And that kind of started me on the path of trying to share it with people. And then the next thing you know, I was sharing it with more people, and then people were sharing my name with other people. And that's kind of how we ended up growing HHO Organic Products. HHO stands for honey hemp oil. So that's kind of how we got our name and logo, because our
Very good.
product. Yeah. Questions?
Well, yes, I have a lot of questions for you, sir. Hang on tight. Here we go. All right. So, first of all, take me back to the days when you had the health food store in Liberty. So, Liberty is a town north of Kansas City, right?
Right.
Liberty, Missouri. Now, what years was that taking place? What years did you have the store?
Let's see. It's been a while ago now. I would say it was in the late 80s,
Late
uh,
80s? Okay, okay.
mid to late 80s.
And it seems like in that time frame, most of what we did, we had some general, I guess you'd say, general vitamins around that time. It seems like, of course, there was the one pill solves all type products and that kind of thing. Okay,
Yeah.
that were out there, or at least promoted to us, and that
Yeah.
type of thing. And so many things have changed since then, as far as people, I call it waking up to
Yeah.
naturopathic health. It's kind of like we went from naturopathic health into being, deceived by the allopathic world in a lot of ways as to what's good for us and what's not. And then believing those protocols for a long time. And then now it's reversing in some regards, under a new management of our country and other things. And so when you were back in that era with the store, what was kind of the big things? It seems like there's always something going on, but in that world, what did you have? Did you have a lot of supplements and some other things, or what was going on back then?
We were primarily involved in the herbal side of it. So we had a lot of herbal
Okay.
products. Um,
Okay.
and we had, a variety. That was back when Dr. Christopher was really popular, and a bunch of people in that time in that crowd of people. Of course, it was, it's become what they call now, what's an alternative type of medicine, but in
Yes.
reality, it's the original type of medicine. I
Yes.
mean, if you go back far
Yes.
enough, it was interesting. We owned a storefront on the Liberty Square up in Liberty, and just 2 doors up from me was an old museum. It was a museum of an old apothecary, and it was fascinating to me. I'd been there for months before one day I finally thought, I'm just going to take a trip down there and see what's in that museum. And we went up these stairs into the museum, and I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, we carry that. Oh yeah, we carry that. I'm looking at all these old bottles that they're doing up there, and they're the same kinds of things that we were carrying in our store. So it was kind of like going back in time, but fast forwarding to the current day. So it was fascinating to do that back then. So we did a lot of herbal types of things, a lot of herbal remedies, and not some, there were a lot of people who were into the vitamins and minerals and things like that, and everybody had to have those. But we also carried, you know, clean products, drinks that you could drink that weren't, didn't have dyes in them and things like that back in those days.
Sure. Well, and depending on how you look at it, I mean, our food supply was so much different back then as well. I remember, I can't remember the exact name of it, but I think it was called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And do you
Hmm.
remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I still have a
Yeah.
cassette tape of that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I do.
And
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, my the owner of my company that I worked for in the '80s, and he told me about that, and he said we feed our animals better than we do ourselves as far as nutritional
Yeah.
health and that type of thing, which was kind of like what, but it's true, and it's not only gotten bad, it's gotten worse. Like you said, there's so many things when you read a label now that our food is really, I guess what they say is in the middle of the grocery store is all the processed foods, right? The highly processed foods, and that's the place to avoid. It's tasty, delicious, and fun to eat and everything, and tantalizes our taste buds. At the same time, avoid it at all costs, right? And that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I get it. I totally get it. And so as things progress, then it seems like there's always the latest and greatest thing, whether it's turmeric is something that's been of recent days, or if it's something like collagen has been a big, peptides and all that thing is a big thing, and it's always something, right? There's always something comes out, and it's like bee pollen is popular for a while, and then coral calcium, and remember the days of all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so, and none of it is, well, typically the advertising doesn't relate it to evaluating where you are and whether you need those things, or whether some you don't anyway, but whether you need those things, and how much do I need, and do I need other things in combination. So that becomes an issue. Our bodies are so complex, right? That you couldn't just make a simple recommendation all the time for one thing. It's never one thing, right? That's the other thing that happens as I've talked to people throughout the years, is if they have one thing solution, almost any ailment you have, they're going to tell you need one of those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and sometimes it's not. Now there's many particular nutrients, et cetera, that, will address areas of the body, pain in particular for a lot of people, inflammation, another area,
Yeah.
those type of things. Have you, just out of curiosity, have you been familiar with the work of standard process nutritionals at all, and Royal, the research they've done?
I'm familiar with that specifically, no.
Oh, okay, okay. And anyway, there's just some things there that are very interesting, because when you talk about nutritionals, the guy that founded the company there, I happen to be a little bit familiar with it, is Royal Lee is his name. Do some research on Royal Lee if you get a chance.
Yeah, I'll look that
He
up.
actually, yeah, Royal Lee actually did a lot of research into what's called protomorphogens. Are you familiar with protomorphogens?
No.
It's something that a lot of people haven't heard of, but that's basically, we deal with a lot of autoimmune issues right in our world today, especially.
Right.
And there's some things in that realm that he had researched and addressed, and actually he was. I'm gonna see if I quote this correctly, and I think I'm right on this. He actually developed a device called the Heart Sound Recorder, HSR for short, that was a precursor to the echocardiogram. Okay.
Oh, okay.
In that realm. Yeah. Interesting guy. Saline River Press is their website. You can find some of his historical works in there if you get a chance to look at it, in that part of it. And so anyway, long story short, that's very interesting. To bring us back to today now, HHO Organic Products. You mentioned the colloidal silver product. Is that the one main product, or are there others that you have?
We kind of decided that there's a lot of different companies out there that are selling all kinds of different products. We limited ourselves just to the colloidal silver products and the hemp
Okay.
oil.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
those are our two focus products. We don't really sell any others. In the past, when we first began with the colloidal silver, we did several essential oil companies, but that became, everybody had the best one, and the one that was, came from the jungles of wherever, and you could
Yeah.
only get that one thing. And it just got to the point where every time you turned around, and we realized because of the longevity of how much we've worked with these two products now, that it would just take away from what we do with ours. And our products are so much less expensive than the market out there is selling them for, that we take care of basically all of it ourselves. And so we've eliminated the middleman stuff that we used to deal with in the essential oils and other products when we had our health food store.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's get into the products a little bit then. Okay. Let's start with the colloidal silver. What is colloidal silver? And I know there's something about yours that's very special that you've mentioned. So walk us through. Start out with the fundamentals. If nobody's ever heard of colloidal silver, what is it? What purposes does it serve? Is it different than a silver coin in a glass of water, or what? Okay. Somebody doesn't know anything about it.
It's actually interesting that you mentioned the silver coin in water.
Yes.
This I've actually traced back blessed with the internet today, you're able to do a lot of research, but I've traced back and they actually have records of silver, little silver being used back in 1300 BC. So it's not a new product. And I actually have a timeline that goes from 1300 all the way to the present day, and it kind of shows over those years. It's like 2 pages long, how it's been used and how people are what things have happened with it. And originally it was a product that was typically used by royalty in the beginnings, but if you go back in time, there was a time in our society when we used what we called silverware that was actually made out of silver. And
Yeah.
so if I've watched several research papers and things that people have done in the past where they tied the increases in disease and different types of things to the time in which we went to stainless steel instead of silverware. In fact, in our little town of Ozark here, we have a restaurant that still buys silverware off of the internet, and that's what they use to serve their customers. And they have a big thing at the bottom of the menu that says, here's the story of silver and silverware. So as time went by, then they developed generators that would actually fragment the silver into distilled water. And basically, that's where we're at now. We have commercial generators that or you connect to electricity, and they actually fragment these silver rods and the little fragments of silver. They're not visible to the naked eye. Oftentimes we have to take a little laser pen and shine it through the bottle for people to see that there's actually these little nanoparticles of silver in there. But it's been around for many, many, many years, so long before my time. But yeah,
Now,
so
what
go
is a
ahead.
nanoparticle? Can you define a nanoparticle? What does that mean?
There's every colloidal silver product out there on the market, you'll find they're all nanoparticles. Some companies focus on the nano part of it, making it sound like we've got something really special, nanoparticle. But all of it all fragments into nanoparticles. They're like a billionth of a inch or a billionth of a whatever. I forget what all the measurements are anymore. I have it all in writing that we show people if they have the question about it. But it's just a small particle of it. And so our generators create the two silver rods, and then it fragments those little silver particles into steam distilled water. We use steam distilled water. We distill it ourselves. So, and then from that point, those particles are so small they can go into your body and do some pretty amazing things. Actually, I mean, over the time we've been doing that, we've seen lots of things. We've seen cancer patients in California who have, claimed that they were cured of their cancer because of colloidal silver. Recently, on the colloidal silver side, in 2022, PubMed did they published an article showing that they were comparing the results of colloidal silver to chemo drug, a specific one, and they said that the effect was the same as the chemo without any side effects. So there's been a lot of research being done, I'd say probably since 2020, where companies have been starting to look at it and say, okay, COVID has brought so many people into this industry, both in the way of customers who are looking into all these different natural products, thinking that it didn't fare them very well with the medical industry that they were using at the time. And so I think that's what sparked a lot of these medical studies that they've started doing with products like the colloidal silver and the hemp oil both.
Very good. Now, so you basically create your own water, right? Out of
A distiller.
distilled process, yeah. And then is distilled water pretty ionic or not?
It's essentially the advantage of using the distilled water, steam distilled water especially, I mean, is that you eliminate all of the other elements. Those all go out one side of the distiller, and you just get pure water droplets, and then you end up with, gallons depending on the size of your distiller. So it's pure water. I mean, doesn't have minerals in it. It doesn't have anything else. So that's why we use that, is so that we know that the product that we're putting in there isn't mixing with other things. other elements and hindering the usefulness.
Sure. Very, very much so. And so basically you've got what I would say is the purest form of colloidal silver that you're producing there. And what is I guess I am not familiar with the parts per million or whatever of the silver. What's the chemical makeup of that? Do you know what the measurement is roughly?
We have two choices on our generators where you can do 10 parts per million or 20 parts per million. Typically, we
Okay.
use the 20 parts per million. The reason that you use the smaller doses of it, there's companies out there that'll sell you a bottle of 500 parts per million, but we always hear the story of the Blue Man, who was on Oprah and all the talk shows, who literally he was doing 500 parts per million, did it for 15 years, drinking at least 16 ounces of it a day, which was an extreme amount. But ours are typically, we try and stay with the 20 parts per million unless somebody wants a lesser dose of it. And is probably the most common. If you go to like a health food store or someplace to buy the product, 10 parts per million is pretty common. Occasionally you'll see people that will have like a little 15 milliliter bottle of 500 parts per million. There's different reasons that people use it. I mean, it's an antibiotic, it's an antibacterial, it's an there's so many antis that it's been shown to deal with over the years that it's been used, that some people like to talk about it like it's some kind of a cure-all, but typically the customers that we've had over the years have used it for a large variety of things. Commonly, it's used, hospitals have silver products that they use in their burn units. Ours, we have a spray bottle that you can if you get a sunburn, you can spray it on your sunburn and the pain goes away and you don't peel and all those kinds of things. We have a lot of people that use it for, especially in this time of the year when we're kind of past that now, but in our area, we were like, 30 degrees one day and 80 the next, and that tends to get people in sore throats and different places they are. So we have a lot of our customers that use it for that type of thing as well. COVID, it was killing COVID in 2 days or less when we had customers that were using it to help them with their COVID, and we were watching every one of them. I don't think not one of our customers that we sold it to for that purpose ended up within 2 days, they were over it. There's a lot of,
Wow, that's fascinating.
it's
Yeah.
it's a fascinating product, but it's a very simple product, and I think that's what's beautiful about it.
Yeah. So if you like, is it something that you'd want to be taking daily in a preventative fashion, or is it pretty much like you've been talking about? Is it something that you apply once you've got a condition?
Both, actually. We have a lot of people a lot of our customers use it daily. I mean, you're talking about half an ounce to an ounce, out of a bottle. So they'll just take a little shot of it. My wife and I both use a shot glass, and we'll just put half a shot glass or a shot glass and it's kind of a preventative for so many different, and it has so many qualities in it that it does a lot of different things.
Can you explain
Yeah.
a little bit about what happens in the body when the colloidal silver is ingested? What goes on?
Essentially, what it does is it acts kind of like an antibiotic. It goes into your system and the system is what our bodies use it. Of course, I'm not an expert in that field, so
Sure.
the only place I'm an expert is knowing stories of people that have bought our products over the years. It goes into your body and then it basically uses the product wherever it needs to be used. And that's the simplest explanation. And that's true for both of our products. The hemp oil is the very same thing. The body uses that wherever it is that it's needed. We have, with our company, we have a 100% money back guarantee. And in our entire time, I've never had anybody ask for their money back. So
Now,
either,
yeah, let's switch. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's fine. I was just going to say it's surprising in a way, but it's not in another way because we see the usefulness of it.
Sure. Tim, go into the whole idea of the hemp oil because, well, I guess hemp is this correct to say it's the female plant of the marijuana plant. Is that right? Somebody told me that. Is that what that is?
That's typically it's actually a separate plant from a marijuana plant. It's a
What is?
there is a hemp plant and there is a marijuana plant, which are different. They have different chemical makeups. I always describe it this way. It's like you have white roses and you have red roses. They're both in the same plant family, but each of them has a different chemical makeup. And that's the difference between a marijuana plant and a hemp plant. Back in before World War II, hemp was a very prolific product in the United States and all over the world. Still is in other countries. But essentially what happened was the powers that be, I'm going to call them that, in the financial world, bought up Forest Service and different things, and they started getting into the iron industry. Prior to World War II, most ships used hemp rope for their anchors and all of that. And it wasn't until that time that that kind of changed things. And then they turned out. Then what happened was it was kind of getting in the way of the pharmaceutical industry, and then so they started making it sound like, well, there was an old movie. What was it called? They made a marijuana movie. It was called I can't remember the name of it, but they put a movie out that was really they played it all over the place. It kind of turned cannabis plants in general into an evil product, and then it started being banned everywhere. The element that's in all cannabis plants is the THC delta 9 element. That's the one that our government is wanting to limit people on. And the reason they do that is because marijuana plant has a much larger content of the THC delta 9, whereas hemp has a much smaller content of it. Many people are afraid to use hemp oil because they block it in with medical marijuana or marijuana. The one thing that I think most people don't realize is that the reason that marijuana is psychotropic for people when they use it is because they heat it over 180 degrees. So if you're smoking it, you're gonna heat it up. If you're gonna bake it in brownies, you're gonna heat it up. No delta 9 is psychotropic until it's heated over 180 degrees. So our hemp oil, and it has such a small amount, comparatively speaking, to the marijuana plant, our hemp oil has such a little thing in it. But the delta 9 element is essential for like cancers and cellular diseases. So that's the one that unlocks the cells, the delta 9 element, and then allows the other CBD elements that are there and the other THC elements that are in the plant to go in and do what they do. And essentially what happens is, if you go online, you can probably find it, but there's a video online of a Petri dish thing they did where they showed a control dish and a dish that they'd put a drop of hemp oil in with cancer cells. And you can literally watch in a time-lapse video, you can watch the cancer cells just all of a sudden self-destruct. They just turn fuzzy and then they're gone. They basically just self-destruct. But it's the delta 9 element in the hemp oil that does do that. Now, our product is a full spectrum. So many companies who are eliminating the THC delta 9 basically nullify it for the use of cancer treatments and other cellular disease type of situation. A full spectrum product is what people want to look for, no matter where they get it, because of the you get all of the elements. I always like to compare it like this. I say you can buy a jar of ascorbic acid tablets that they call vitamin C, and you can eat those, or you can eat an orange and get everything that goes around it that helps it be most active. So that's kind of the same thing with the hemp oil. I mean, there's companies that eliminate different elements of it and the like, but they nullify it for other benefits that it could be in somebody's body, and we never know. For example, in our hemp oil product, in the last, I think it was a year or so ago, I had a man who bought a $40 bottle from us, and it was a 1 month supply, and he used it for 2 weeks, and because we have a 100% money back guarantee, but they have to use the entire bottle, he called me 2 weeks in and said, "You know what? This isn't working for me, and I think I want a refund." And so I reminded him that our money back guarantee is based on use the entire bottle, send me the bottle back, and it will and I'll refund your money. 2 weeks later, he called me and said, "Okay, it's working now, so send me another bottle." Well, what happens is it goes into your body and it fixes whatever it needs to fix first. Now, there's things in our bodies that I think we don't even know what they are. So this goes in and we have no way of knowing what it was and what it did, but it took it a couple of weeks before it got to the thing he was complaining about it and what he was using it for. So that's pretty common. Most people, a lot of our people nowadays, they usually can tell fairly quickly. We've got a group of doctors down in Dallas, Texas that give our products away because they can't sell it as medical doctors. One of them had a patient that had fibromyalgia. He gave him a bottle of it. The guy called him two hours later. He said almost to the minute, and he said, "I'm pain free." You know, one of the other doctors in this group that use our stuff down in Dallas, he had a patient who had stage 4 prostate cancer. Well, he got aggressive. He said, "Wait a minute, you're telling me to put this under my tongue because sublingual administration is what most people use it as." But he said, "My prostate is down there." So he said, he went and bought gel caps and used them as like a suppository. His stage 4 cancer was gone in 27 days. He went in for a scan with his oncologist and the oncologist told him, he said, "Look, I need to do another scan." And he said, "Should I be scared?" And he said, "I don't think so, but I have to have your permission, written permission, to be able to do another scan this soon after we did the last one." And when went back and did the other scan, he came to him and he said, "It's gone." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I mean, it's gone. Your cancer's gone." So we've seen over the years, we've been doing this over the last 10 years, we've been doing the hemp oil. We've seen time after time, we have people that call us back and tell us what it's done for them. And it's pretty common for it to do. I mean, to me, that's a miraculous thing to have a stage 4 prostate cancer gone in 27 days. But everybody's body's different, so you really can't. It's not like you can diagnose or say this is what it does, and because it does whatever it does within each person's body.
Now, how is the hemp oil applied, and what specific things are usually times when people actually buy it and utilize it?
Well, we sell it in dropper bottles. So what most of our customers do is they'll use 3 to 5 drops under the tongue, and they'll do it depending on what they're dealing with. I mean, we have a number of people that use it for maintenance too, because they had cancer and they want to keep it away, or they had a different kind of a neuropathy or different things that people are dealing with. But it's a dropper bottle, 3 to 5 drops under the tongue. That's what we tell most people. That's what other people are doing with it. And so once they do that, some people use, if somebody has an acute situation in their body that they're trying to get rid of it. I mean, I've had people that are, doing it under the tongue 4 or 5 times a day just to make sure that they're getting enough in there. For a typical person who's wanting to use it for maintenance or for some low pain thing, I literally, this finger right here, my ring size in this finger used to be 3 sizes bigger than it is now as a result of using hemp oil for osteoarthritis. So it just depends, I think, on what most people are going to use it for as far as what they use it dosage wise. Obviously, we're not medical people, so we can't prescribe anything in particular, but we can explain to people what other people in similar situations have used and how much they've used it. So,
Got it. Got it.
and
Makes sense.
there's a pretty large variety of different things that, people have used it for. We had a brain cancer tumor here just a few months ago here near us in Missouri, who it was gone in 6 weeks. The tumor was gone in 6 weeks. And,
Wow.
the oncologist didn't have any idea how, she didn't tell him what she'd done, but it was so we've seen so many things over the years we've been doing this that I've always been of a mind for people, that are always wanting to be cautious about different things. I say, it's a plant. That's all it is. You're just extracting the oil out of a plant. So there's no harm in trying something. It's not going to do, it's not like it's going to do something to your body. It doesn't make your body do anything. It just allows your body to do things utilizing the chemical content of the hemp plant.
Now, what is the source of your hemp oil and what makes it different?
You mentioned the interesting thing about cannabis plants.
Yes.
You're correct. Most hemp oil producers use the female plant. Our product is actually, our grower is in Florence, Colorado. He grows the plants for us and he extracts the oil out of it, and then we bring it in and package it and the like for our customers. But he found out that the Ukrainian hemp plants are what's called hermaphrodactic, which is a term that's used in that field, meaning that it has both male and female characteristics in the same plant. And I believe that's probably why we see so many different results than a lot of companies do that sell the CBD and the hemp oil products. That changes the chemical makeup of the plant. Plus, our grower actually ages the plants or cures the plants for about 6 to 8 months before he actually extracts the oil out of them, which gives them a much greater potency. We participated in a blind study with 15 other CBD and hemp oil products with a company back in Massachusetts called ProVerde Labs. When the results came back, obviously it was a blind study and we didn't know who they were and they didn't know who we were. But our product came out at 76+% in health benefiting elements, where the balance of the products were between 28 and 35% in health benefiting elements. And my personal opinion is that that's due to the Ukrainian hemp plant, plus the way it's processed without. Many companies use alcohol or heat or some other chemical to extract the oil out of the plant. The other thing that our grower does is he uses only the bud part of the plant. He doesn't like grind up the leaves and the stems and that. And some of the other companies do that sometimes, so that's, I think, why we see the results that we see with our product. It's so prevalent.
Great. Okay, Tim, tell us a little bit about how, if our listeners would like to order some from you, can they go to a website or where can they go to find that if they're not local?
We do a lot of we basically have built our business on referrals. The guy that grows our hemp plants in Colorado, he has told us that if you open a website, I will quit selling to you.
No kidding.
Yes.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
he's basically told us if you do a website, I'm going to quit selling to you. Mainly because the product has been so effective that he has fears that somebody in the medical industry is going to get a hold of him, and he actually made a shipment to Australia, a fairly large shipment that he sent to Australia. And the Australian customs people confiscated his order, and then they turned him over to Homeland Security and the FBI, and they came to his home and nothing happened, but they came to his home wanting to find out because they were claiming that he had a large amount of THC in the product, which it doesn't and never has because of it's a hemp plant. I assume that they just assumed that it was a marijuana plant and it was something that they did not allow in their countries.
Wow.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of us, they can call us. We have a local 417 number, and we have a number that we use throughout the United States, which we ship all over the country for it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We have a Facebook page, but there's not a lot of information on our Facebook page because he's a little testy about people using it. Now, colloidal silver, we can do anything. We can send it anywhere. It's well accepted around too. So, but yeah,
Okay.
I can give anybody phone numbers, and so we pretty much run by word of mouth at this point.
That's great. That's
And
great.
we do big events. We just came back from Utah and did a big event in Utah. So we do little places all around the country. We're fixing to do a booth with the Brian Artis. What's the name of that event? in November.
Yes, that's the Secrets in Healthcare.
Secrets in Healthcare. Yeah, we'll be doing something there as well.
Are you? Are you gonna do a booth?
We're planning on it.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, you've probably been talking to my wife then. My wife's the
Yes,
administrator
we
for
have.
the plan. So talking to Jesse. That's great. All right. Well, Tim, it's been a pleasure, sir. Oh, is the phone number, is it a 480 number, or what's the best phone number to reach
If
out
it's a
to you guys?
local number in Missouri, it's 417-371-9529. If they don't,
Okay.
if anywhere in the United States, you can do the 480 number, 480-688-7789.
Okay.
Both
Okay.
of those numbers will
Do the
get you to us.
get you to us. Okay. Fantastic.
And
Fantastic.
they can also email us at HHO Organics at gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. Chicho. Got it. Got it. All right. Well, fantastic to have you on today. I've learned a lot, some great information to pass on. And so, sir, I will look forward to connecting with you again real soon in your networking group. I'm interviewing some other people in your networking group actually on the podcast coming up as well. So
Okay.
thanks again for being with us. I appreciate it.
Paul, I appreciate you too. You have a great day, and good luck to you with all you're doing.
Thank you, sir.